Hi, I'm Deborah Lamata, and this is Women Entrepreneur Spotlight. I started this podcast because I believe that every woman entrepreneur has a story to tell, and by sharing that story, she could be helping the next woman entrepreneur looking for some guidance. So tune in, get comfortable, and enjoy the series. Hi, and welcome to Women Entrepreneur Spotlight. Today I have Linda Willimer of I Support the Girls, a nonprofit organization through an international network of affiliates. I Support the Girls collects and distributes essential items, including bras, underwear, and menstrual hygiene products, allowing women and folks experiencing homelessness, impoverishment, or distress to stand tall with dignity. Thank you, Linda, for being here today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. We met last month, the month before, at Women's Expo at the Rehoboth Expo Center. And I had not heard of the I Support the Girls prior to meeting you. After talking with you for a few minutes and finding out about the organization, I knew that I wanted to help promote I Support the Girls any way I could. And so here we are. So what is, or who is I Support the Girls?
So I Support the Girls is a non-profit organisation that was started in 2015, initially with a view to donate bras to homeless women in need. And from there on, it has grown multiple times. The items that, as you said, the items that we now donate include menstrual products, include bras and underwear, and depending on the locations that they're donated, other products as well.
And so who is the founder of I Support the Girls?
An amazing lady called Dana Marlowe, woman entrepreneur. She actually has her own business that she works on and then runs I Support the Girls as well. So, how it started was that she had lost some weight after she'd had her second son, went to a Soma store and to get measured for new bras and said to the woman measuring her, what do I do with my old bras? They're perfectly good. They just don't fit me anymore. And this woman said 4 words, which changed all of our lives, which is homeless women need bras. So she went home and thought about this and she thought, well, I can do something about that. So she basically did a little donation drive amongst her friends and got some bras. And then the word got out and more people started giving her bras. So she went to a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C. She lives in South Maryland. So she's near D.C., took them a giant bag of bras and they said, thank you very much, but actually we need pads and we need tampons and we need this and we need that. And she went home and thought, well, if I can get bras, this amount of bras in this amount of short time, I can get other stuff as well. So for a long time, I Support the Girls operated out of her house, South Maryland, and it's grown from there.
It's just amazing. And we'll talk about it a little bit later on. I for one, hadn't thought about women, homelessness, and these items that we just take for granted. And we will talk about that in just a little bit. And so how did you get started with I Support the Girls?
So I started in 2000, the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And I worked for the Breast Cancer Resource Center in Princeton as a volunteer and then as a paid employee. And I worked with a lot of breast cancer survivors, left them, unfortunately, and thought I have to do something. And one of the things that I found out about I Support the Girls, I don't even know how I found out about them. I may have seen something on Facebook. And the lady the affiliate who lives up in North Jersey, her name is Deneen, she it was always asking for stuff. And so I did a donation drive for her, schlepped it all the way up to Springfield in New Jersey, dropped it off in her porch and didn't even meet her. I mean, I literally drove, opened her outer door, put all the stuff in her porch, drove all the way home again. She texted me that night, said, thank you so much. This is so generous. Would you like to do it? And I was like, I don't know. And she said, well, I get so many requests from Trenton and Camden and areas that I can't get to because it's too far. And she has a full-time job as well, as do many of our affiliates. So I thought for 5 minutes about it and thought, well, I can do this. And having had that experience and the contacts from working with the Breast Cancer Resource Centre, I had a lot of people that I knew that I could pull in immediately and say, this is what we do. This is what we need. Is there any way you can help? It went from there. So during that time, I went through breast cancer myself. I started an I Support the Girls Breast Cancer closet of items for survivors and women currently in treatment, and started locally in my area, which was kind of Princeton, so Mercer County, and then grew from there. So by the time I had decided that I was ready to move on, which was the end of 2021, we had what I had been doing on my own. We had 5 girls doing across New Jersey.
Wow.
I carried on even moving down here, I carried on doing all the social media and all the events for New Jersey while they obviously did the logistical stuff. And then last October, we had a retreat in Denver, which I went to, and they kept saying to me, well, Delaware, they still need somebody. Nobody's doing Delaware. And I was like, well, we just moved. And then, of course, once I'd unpacked all the boxes and thought about it, it just seemed natural to do it. Right. You know, there was no reason other than that I really didn't want to do it, but I couldn't think of a good enough reason not to do it, which we can discuss later if you like, is the fact that I was absolutely blown away about the diversity of income or lack of down here and the amount of people who actually need these products.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we do not stop and think. I mean, I know we all, continually to learn, but this really, kind of blew me away when we were first talking, because just the thought of having to either decide on a hot meal if you're homeless or, menstrual hygiene product just doesn't cross your mind.
Exactly. And I when I talk to people, I say that particularly for mothers, it's the choice of do they buy cereal and milk for their children or do they buy themselves a packet of pads?
Yeah.
Tampons. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the children that are going to, it's in an emergency, they might buy something for themselves.
Right.
But as far as the children are concerned, they get it first.
Absolutely. And so what has it been like building the chapter here in Delaware? If I had to choose a word to describe the people of Delaware, I do find the people here very supportive in all different areas, all different, happenings and organizations. Have you found that to be true while you've been building this chapter here?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it took me, I would say, a good year in New Jersey to get what I would call off the ground and up and running. And that's even with all the contacts that I had. Down here, by the end of January, given that we started officially on January 1st, by the end of January, we had probably already got 3 or 4 organisations that we'd been to, interviewed, discussed the needs, added them to a donation list, and we actually started donating in February.
Wow.
So we didn't have much, but what we had, what came in went straight out again.
Wow.
And it's amazing the amount of women who have said, I was looking for something to do, and this really is something worthwhile. I wouldn't say it's been easy, and it's a lot of hard work, and it can sometimes be a bit of a one-woman band as far as admin and that kind of stuff is concerned. But as far as saying to people, could you come and help at the storage unit packing stuff, or would you like to do stuff at home? I mean, my neighbours spent most of March packing underwear because I would take them bags of 150 pairs of underwear and say, could you pack these and label them for me?
Wow.
So supportive is definitely the right word.
Yeah, I find that I'm involved in a couple of different things, or I'm either covering or talking to or doing interviews with, and everybody, maybe not everybody, but a good majority of the people here in Delaware are always ready to lend a helping hand. And who wouldn't want to help somebody in this need? Because again, who thinks about it until you find out about it? And it's like, yeah, I do want to help with that. So is I Support the Girls just in the US?
No, worldwide. I've been trying to recruit family in the UK, because there is no I Support the Girls England, but we have an amazing woman in Pakistan who is again another one-woman band. Being part of I Support the Girls in Pakistan is very different because they don't get the product like we do. I mean, we can ask somebody to go to a grocery store and buy a packet of pads and donate it to us. That doesn't happen there. They get stuff by, raising money to buy stuff in, and then they may only be able to give a small pack of pads to a limited number of women. But what they did do a couple of years ago, and I was instrumental in helping get some money for them, or give them some money to be able to work on a project. They applied for a grant within I Support the Girls, and they won it on the basis that they would buy sewing machines and fabric, and she taught the women how to make bras and underwear and reusable pads. I can't remember exactly how many sewing machines they got, but so they have a very different situation than, say, for instance, we do here in the States, or Germany does, or Canada does, right? Because those people can get the products and just give them out again. Right. It's similar to we do. The other, Canada, the Philippines, Pakistan, Germany, and then the biggest operation distance-wise is in Australia. And an amazing woman called Jane Holmes started Support the Girls Australia not long after I Support the Girls started here. And they basically cover the south and east coast of Australia, so up the Gold Coast. They have an aircraft hangar of a storage place that they can store stuff in, and they have a van that they raise money for, and they can take it out into the bush, and they can deliver underwear, bras, menstrual products to Indigenous women. And she told us a lovely story. We had a Zoom call with her at one point early on, and she told us about the fact that there's these two guys who've got a van as well, and it's got washing machines and tumble dryers in it, and they've got a generator, and they meet up out in the middle of nowhere, and the women can take their stuff to be washed and dried, and while they're doing that, they can go to the I Support the Girls van, and they can be measured for new bras, and they can get underwear, and they can get menstrual products. And it's just amazing what people do. Get an idea and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just back to Pakistan, I mean, that woman there is not just handing out and giving out the menstrual products, but she's teaching these women life skills.
Yes, and she's also teaching young girls about what menstruation is, and sort of working on the taboos of it's not discussed and it's a hidden subject. And so she does a really good job. She works within a teacher situation where she's actually got women coming to her and she can talk to them. And she lives, in a little village in the middle of nowhere.
And then to Australia, again, who thinks that, we don't think beyond ourselves here, if you're in America, with what's available to everybody. And we still don't stop to think about homelessness, natural disasters and how that affects women also.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here just thinking about all the different situations that I would have never had thought about until I met you and I read what was on the website. And these women are just amazing, as you are, to take one idea and run with it, and then run with it. They run out into the Indigenous people with washing machine and dryer in a van. Who would have thought of that?
Well, it's not that I support the girls, ladies who have the van with the washing machine, but they meet the guys who have it. So
Yeah.
And then, as far as the other programs, if I can carry on from that point, because as far as disaster relief is, we've managed over the last few years where there have been requirements for items needed with some urgency, we've been able to sort of pull out all the stops and get stuff to locations. So, for instance, in Florida, earlier on was it this year or last year when they had all the terrible storms?
Oh, yeah.
Head office rang, various different organizations and said, look, we can get stuff to places if you can supply it. We've sent stuff to Haiti. We've sent stuff to, Texas when we sent stuff to Louisiana. So where there has been like a natural disaster or a disaster where there is a need for things urgently, our head office team have the ability and the contacts to be able to say to companies, this is what we need.
Right.
And then also work with other organizations to say, well, if you're sending a plane to Haiti, then we can put the stuff on it that you need. As equally as I worked in New Jersey when a lot of refugees came in from Afghanistan who had been sent to Fort Dix. Most of these women came, it was mostly women and children. And so I did a donation drive where we specifically collected for that specific event. And then I connected with the Coast Guard who had it was like a depot that they'd made so that all the stuff that was donated went there and could be distributed. So one of my volunteers said, oh, my dad's got a truck and he's got nothing to do next Wednesday. So he and I drove down there. We met the guy from the Coast Guard, took all the stuff, and then we got talking and he said, so, here's another question. He said, do you know where I could get strollers? And I said, no, but I can work on it. And we actually managed to get 25 strollers because I just put all points bulletin out saying, hey, I spoke to the Coast Guard. These women are arriving with kids strapped to them. They weren't allowed to bring strollers with them.
Right.
If they had one. And then all these people came out of the woodwork and said, oh yes, I've got one, my sister's got one, my friend's got one. And then another volunteer said, hey, if you need somebody to drive them to Fort Dix, I can do that for you. And that's how these things happen.
How they get done.
Yeah, exactly. So all sorts of different programs within the remit of what we do.
Right.
The disaster relief is probably is the most urgent.
What is, or how does I Support the Girls get the needed products, or what's the best way you have found to get the products? I mean, we've been already talking about some of the ways you do get it between donations and drives and corporate involvement too.
Yes.
Corporations.
So we have corporate associations with big organizations, partnerships with Soma, who were Dana went to the store to get her first bra fitted. Victoria's Secret recently, in more recent months, we've been working with them. Always donated a lot of product for the last disaster relief organisation. Yes, I mean smaller ones, big things, bit large amounts of things we can get, but it can be very random. So, for instance, happened to be on the phone with head office a couple of months ago, and while I was on the phone with one of the girls, another girl got a phone call from Glamorize. Very nice, but large size bras. And she called to the girl I was talking to and she said, ask Linda if she wants some Glamorize bras. And I said, absolutely. I'll take whatever I can get at the moment because we've got nothing. And so I had 2,900 brand new Glamorize bras delivered. And at the moment, we can't get them out to people because we need to go through them all and sort them all. But that once we do, then we'll be able to give those out.
Wow.
Who else have we had stuff for? Companies will contact head office and say, we've got this to donate. We can ship it to 6 locations within the United States, or we could ship it to 3 locations on the East Coast or 4 locations on the West Coast. And so it can be very random, and sometimes, you might not be the person to get it because you just got the last lot.
Right.
So Victoria's Secret, as I said, we recently started partnering with, and they actually make, which I didn't know, and a lot of people don't know, they make a donatable underwear.
Really?
So panties.
Wow.
So, but they're nice, what I call nice, sensible cotton ones. They're not thongs and we were allowed to, well, not allowed, we could, request, I think we had to request a minimum across the board of the sizes that they had. Because I like to donate them, the individual pairs, I like to donate to people an individually wrapped, packaged pair of underwear that they know is new and clean,
Right.
clean out. So we pack them and we label them. And then the people that receive them, know where they come from, and the people who donate them have got our information. And it's amazing where they turn up, So we spent most of March packing underwear, and there's still, I think, 4 boxes left to do. But now it's all bagged and labelled and ready to go. And so when an organisation says, we have underwear, rather than them saying to me, well, we need 4 pairs of small and 3 pairs of medium and a couple of pairs of extra large, I give them a box worth. And the idea with the Victoria's Secret donation is that each person gets 7 pairs.
Oh, wow.
I got a whole load of makeup as well, from another company that were giving away stuff. This week they posted, did anybody want bath bombs or bath salts? Because somebody wanted to donate them. Bombers, who donate socks, they're another one.
Wow.
And they'll say, well, we'd like to send out 1,000 pairs, and then one affiliate might get them, or that you might divide them. It can be very random. Therefore, everything else that we want to donate has to come from us sourcing it.
Right, right.
It could be from a donation drive. It could be from a company collecting and doing their own fundraising to buy the products to give.
Oh, okay.
It could be a grocery store or somewhere donating stuff. It's very varied, but I'm trying to think of the right word. It means that you don't always get the same stuff all the time. You can't always provide the same stuff.
Right.
Donation drives, individual donors, people giving us money so that we can go out and buy the stuff, people buying stuff off our Amazon wish list, changes every month. Yes.
Right. And so when you receive donations, does each chapter, do you collectively know what each chapter has if you need to put out a big donation to a disaster area, or does each chapter keep their own inventory and distribute it locally?
Pretty much locally. And that's one thing that I'm very strict about. Well, not strict about. I will always help others. I mean, when I was in New Jersey, we were richer in product, in a financial situation that is better than I am down here. And that's basically because I've only just started. And so I was able, for instance, if one of my colleagues in another state said, I really need size 40 double D bras, if we didn't have them, I could buy them for them. That doesn't happen down here so much.
Okay.
So everything that we get stays here.
Okay.
And I feel is important because Lord knows it's needed down here.
You're the only chapter here in Delaware covering the whole state.
Yeah. So there's a girl in Baltimore, but she really just covers that area. And there's a new girl in Philly, but I don't know how much she's got off the ground. And I do have an associate affiliate in North Delaware. Her name is Rinat, and she has been a volunteer with I Support the Girls for about 5 years, starting off when she was I believe she was in middle school, and her mother said, you need to do something, you need to volunteer. And she fell upon I Support the Girls. And now she's actually working for us officially at our head office in Rockville part-time. But she knows so much, and she's up in Wilmington as well. So she's a good contact for me to give organisations both to donate to and to partner with up in that area.
So with the bras, you get the different sizes and you get the different manufacturers. And does that go the same with the menstrual products? Is there one particular item that someone should really concentrate on donating?
Maxi pads.
Maxi pads.
That's what we get asked for all the time, is maxi pads. And because a lot of the organisations that we donate to, migrant, pool, a lot of people don't use tampons.
Right.
So they ask for maxi pads. Mm-hmm. If in doubt, we will never say no to maxi pad, and that's the thing that every month we have to say, yeah, we have got some, but we can only give you X amount. What we do is, in most cases, we repack them. Yes. So maxi pads without
And then how would somebody, contact, or where do they get in contact with to either volunteer or donate or help out?
Well, as far as that is concerned, all our details are on our Facebook page. We also have an Instagram. They can go to isupportthegirls.org, which is the main website, and there is a Delaware link there, which has got my details on it. And also, because of working locally, most of the sort of women-based groups in this area, I'm a member of. And if I'm not a member of, one of my volunteers is. Okay. So somebody will say, hey, I heard there's somewhere that you can donate pads to. And somebody will say, oh, yes, that's I Support the Girls. I mean, for a long time in New Jersey, people used to say, who's that lady who collects bras? And then I would find things on my front porch or in my mailbox. And when we moved, the people who bought the house from us were a bit upset because they kept getting bags of bras on their front porch. And I had to post something and say, if you want to donate, don't leave them on Linda's doorstep anymore because she doesn't live there. What we're trying to work on is a network of people that will have a bin on their porch, or stores or organisations who will have a donation bin.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So, for instance, the YWCA not the YWCA, the YMCA in Rehoboth will have a bin starting July. And possibly only for that month, but by the time they've finished it, there'll be somewhere else to go. So,
what a great idea. Yeah, definitely a great idea. So, and on the other side of it, if somebody finds themselves in a disaster situation or on the verge of homelessness, and again, it's either a hot meal for a child or hygiene product, how can somebody get in touch with you or the organization to say, hey, I need some products?
Yes, we prefer not to donate to individuals because then there have been weird instances of people who have had stuff and they haven't necessarily asked for it and under the best circumstances. It's very difficult to vet people. It's easier for us to say, go to this organisation in Georgetown or Rehoboth or Lewis or wherever, and you can get those items there. But we would never say no to anybody. So, for instance, recently, there was a family that had a fire and somebody posted on Facebook saying, they don't have anything. And I said, well, we can supply underwear for the mother and the daughters. And that's I'm giving the stuff to them.
Right.
But we prefer to do it through the organisations that we work with, because it also means that person is connecting with an organisation who might be able to help them with other stuff. It might be an organisation that's a food pantry. It might be an organisation that has clothing. Right. So they can do that. But like I've said, we never say no. And head office, one of the programs that head office have that they started a couple of years ago, mainly because of COVID and people being able to get stuff, is they have what they call their ASH kits. So there's a dash kit, which is for women who are fleeing domestic violence, a slash kit, which is for mostly for trans teens who require items, the flash kits, which are for women who are perimenopausal or menopausal. Right. And those kits can be applied for online, and they will be sent out via head office. So what I would like to do when we get going is that we can provide something like that as well, so that people can apply to us and say, this is what I need. And because my pet project, if you like, is helping LGBTQ youth, is that I would like us to be able to provide those items to those in need. As we did in New Jersey with a lot of organisations, it's a subject very close to my heart, and I would like us to be able to have some kind of closet where we could give somebody who is, needs a binder, for instance, which are about $100, rather than wrap themselves in an ace bandage or tell their parent, they don't want to wear certain clothes or whatever. If you provide them with the items, the undergarments that make them feel comfortable in their transition, whichever way it is, they're going to feel more confident in themselves. And those items are expensive. That's what I'm hoping for. Moving on, that we can do something like that.
Absolutely awesome. Obviously, I support the girls' needs. People in every capacity: volunteers, drivers, one-time deal if you have a big shipment that needs to be divided and repackaged, and again, they go find you on Facebook to do that.
So I regularly post on Facebook a schedule of when you can come and help us at the storage, when you can pick up home packs of stuff to do at home. So, for instance, I will prep stuff, or we will prep stuff at the storage that people can take and do as homework at home. So, for instance, one of my neighbours took pads today. Another neighbour's going to do some kids' underwear. I'm trying to work. I don't think it's going to happen till September, but groups could do stuff. So a school group of kids could do something, or a group of ladies who are in a community who like to gather. They can sit. I mean, one group here in my neighbourhood did it. I think they had wine and pizza, which sounds like the best option. Have a pizza, have a glass of wine, pack some underwear. So yes, individuals, groups to do packing, or helping at the storage. And then the other thing that I always, not always, I have started advertising is help for events. So for instance, I booked a table to go to Delaware Pride in Dover on June 10th. And at the moment I've cajoled a couple of neighbours into coming, but we need other people to come because as you met me at the event at the Women's Fest, we need to have a presence to be able to say to people, this is what we do. And I made so many connections at that event. I found people who wanted to volunteer, people who wanted to donate, people who took our information, and then I just got something from our wish list from them, which was great. But the more people that we have that get involved, the more we can do.
Absolutely.
And that we can only donate as much as we can sort and pack as well. And like I say, I've got 2,900 glamorized bras that need to be dealt with.
Oh my gosh. And just to backtrack a little bit, we started to talk about diversity here in Delaware. What would you like to tell everybody or talk about on that subject?
In regards to LGBTQ people, youth, it's very important for them to be, for anybody who wants to be the person that they want to be able to have the clothing items and the health products that they need. I mean, there is still I wouldn't say it's people being ignorant, it's people not knowing that you can be a man and you can still menstruate, that you can be a woman and you need to wear feminine underwear to make you feel the way you want to feel. And so as I say, personally, it's my pet subject. It is something that I worked very hard in New Jersey to work with organisations who needed those items, to the point that we bought breast prostheses, that we bought packers, could be worn to make those people feel that they were living the life that they wanted to live and feeling the way they wanted to be. Mm-hmm. So, giving a whole load of drag queens fancy bras from Victoria's Secret. I met somebody, a drag queen, at a party, and I said something about donating stuff. And he went, "Oh, yes, you're the lady who donates all those fancy bras." And I said, "Well, yes, I picked you out all the glittery, sparkly ones." And because it's important, for me, it's important. And I know, I talk to people and they look at me as if I'm completely barking mad, because it's not within their circle of life. It's not within, I feel it's important for everybody to have what they need, regardless of who they present themselves as or are wanting to present themselves as. So,
and that is the best way to describe it. And back to the beginning, I had said allowing women and folks experiencing homelessness, impoverishment, and distress to stand tall with dignity. That folks is spelled FOLX.
Yes.
So it's even an inclusion right from the beginning. So
yeah. And I use the word a lot, and people say, "Oh, you spelt it wrong." And I said, "No, I spelt it right. That's the correct way, because that word is inclusive."
Yes.
That is inclusive for anybody,
right,
who needs those items. So yes. So. And my husband says, I used to stand on one soapbox when it was talking about breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. Now I have two soapboxes when it comes to I Support the Girls.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You are a warrior. Let me tell you, Linda, do you sleep? Because you seem to be going all the time.
Sometimes what I've discovered is I'm really good at naps. So like this afternoon I came home and I sat and answered emails and did some work, and then I just sat and listened to my audiobook and dozed for half an hour. And that gets through, and then I've got more stuff that I need to do tonight. I'm not very good at handing stuff over to people when it's admin stuff and that. And I've had people this morning say, "Well, I can do this and I can do that." And I've said, "Well, I'll let you know." But I have my systems and they might, so it gets done.
It gets done. That is good. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on that we didn't get to tonight?
Just to reiterate, go to the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, go to the Facebook page. If you're on the Facebook page, you can share. Everything is shareable. You can share our posts and tell your friends, tell your neighbours. One of the things I've discovered is that because we have so many communities down here, that's a great way for people to get organised. You can organise yourselves as a community to do things. So at the moment I think we still have 2 or 3 donation drives going on in communities. We just received a lot of stuff from 2 other local communities, and I'm trying to book people ahead so that I know that if I book people to do a donation drive in September, we will get stuff in September, at the end of September. Follow the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, interact with the Facebook page, because by interacting with spreading the news, we have an Instagram page. I tend to post slightly different things, but yes, it's really just that, and knowing about us and knowing about what we do. And equally, if people need help or if people need donations, there are still a wealth of organisations out there who I know need stuff. We just haven't got round to connecting. Yes, it's all everything.
Right. Awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you, Linda, so much for taking this time to tell us about and talk about I Support the Girls. As I said in the beginning, I had not heard of it. I am so glad that I met you and that I have been learning about this organization, and I hope everybody reaches out to you one way or another, either donating, volunteering, or, just to lend a hand anywhere else. So thank you.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you for listening to Woman Entrepreneur Spotlight. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. For updates on my next interview, follow me on Facebook at Woman Entrepreneur Spotlight. Until then, keep being awesome.